something else to use in class. So,
Yeah, we're so confused, I was like.
I know, it's normally jam-packed here,
Yeah.
but it's not today, so it's kinda like, what the heck's going on? I'm confused. I'm with you on that, it's just a little, you're kinda like,
looking
huh?
all over Blackboard to see if you posted
No.
anything.
No. The only time I have ever canceled class is when my husband had his stroke, and, it was just, I mean, I was planning on teaching, he had it Friday night, Saturday morning, and then I was planning on teaching on Monday, and then Sunday night, about 2:00, they called and told me that he'd fallen, and they were taking him down to have an MRI. That's when we found out he'd had a stroke, so I don't miss if I can
Yeah.
possibly get out of it, so, 'cause it's just too much trouble.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. More details, what's wrong with it? And my little laptop, when I take it home, Friday, I was able to do work all day long on it from home. Saturday, I couldn't get anything to open up whatsoever, I could never get to my stuff. So I pulled out a 4-year-old laptop that the school had given me that I still had at home, and I was able to do some work, but it operates like at snail speed, and I was not happy. I was like, well, let's just screw me around, screw myself around again. So, and I still have 60 projects to grade. I tried, it took me 2 hours to grade 4 projects because stuff just nothing was moving quickly. And I'm like, I can't do that, that's too hard. It's just too hard to try to do that, so. Okay, oh wow, this made horrible copies. I was pulling out a sample summary from last year really quick to show you guys, and
Oh, and it printed out.
yeah, look, can you see there's a line?
Yeah.
I'm like, it's not on the paper, where did that come from? So, I used to just find topics, okay, because it was easier to do that than, to have you guys, but I thought, let's make it part of our argumentative essay, so that we're doing something that shows. Because you can use summary in a research essay, because a lot of times you're not going to summarize what somebody else says, that way that counts as a source. So, we don't know what to do, all of our football teams won this weekend, so it's like, whoa, that doesn't normally happen. So, normally it's, Tech loses,
Yeah.
they're just not having a good thing. So you are doing your argumentative topic, remind me what it was, because I've actually I've got, everything's graded except for the compare and contrast essays, because I could do that quickly. I didn't have to try to download documents and do stuff with them like I was with the project. So I went ahead and just graded all of y'all's stuff, got it out of the way. And I finished grading, I'm down to 350 items, I think, to grade in that big class. Yeah. So, what's your topic?
For the research?
Yes,
I think I'm doing
Okay.
that one.
Yeah, see, that, I wanted to talk about that because I saw everybody's, I went to Abernathy and it was pink, they were wearing pink for breast cancer awareness. And, I have 11 girls and 2 guys. And so, it was interesting. We ate donuts, we talked, but they have a shortened schedule on Friday, probably to accommodate pep rallies. Now, are you from the Dallas area? You're from Lubbock.
I was in Monterey.
Oh, okay. So, but did they run a modified schedule on Fridays for pep rallies?
Yes.
Everybody does that. And so, instead of being there from 9 to 9:50, they were there from like 8:48 until 9:34.
Oh,
So, I go to Morton this week, so.
Where's that?
Morton is, you go past Level Land about another 20 miles or so. It's not a bad trip. They used to, a few years back, they had their football coach's wife was very active in speech and academics, and she would have speech needs and, do all kinds of stuff. So, I was taking my kids from New Deal there. They've been gone quite a while. It's just over there, then it's trash, so I won't carry it around with me. So, Well, it's 9:03. Where are my schools? Thank you for saying that. Let's see. So my computer's working, but my TV's not. Oh, crap. Okay, cancel. I hate it when it doesn't go down to the message area. I think it should.
I have a question. On the summary,
Mm-hmm.
we're picking from the website that she showed us on Friday
Yes.
or Wednesday?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, well, which is the SBC databases. Now, I think Zach said something to me about he was thinking about going to Tech. I'm like, yeah, you can go to Tech because that's the legitimate databases that they have, but I'm sure I just got an email from one of my schools. Okay. And what's really strange is when I switched over, the other laptop, there they are. The other laptop I was working on is like, has a 15-inch screen, so it's like 5 pounds heavier than this one. And the keys these are all real close, so. Sorry about that. Apparently there was just, maybe they went on daylight savings time a little bit earlier than we did or something. I don't know. Abernathy, congratulations on your win on Friday night. Cool. Yeah. Okay, we're in orange. Is today an orange day? I mean, or is that red? It's hard to tell. Okay. Morning, Crosbyton. Morning, Lorenzo. If you have bothered to go in and look in, wow, you're the only one here. I only have one SBC student. You're gonna be my dedicated student, I can tell. 10-718, okay. I just write it on the day. Oh, crap. Sorry. Okay. Yeah, I got the email saying we're not connecting, and JC said, why aren't the schools there? And I was like, oh, I need to handle that. So that's taken care of. I've graded everything except your papers. I have to put you guys on hold so that I can take care of my big monster class and grade some projects that they've had in 2 weeks as of tonight, I believe, or last night. So they're a little bit, there's another one, okay. Oh, hold on. I'm too fast for the computer sometimes. That sounds strange, doesn't it? But what I do is I'll accidentally delete something that I'm trying to open because it flips up and down. So I've got to move this one I just deleted back into my inbox. And I do it frequently, so. One of the things I noticed, not so bad, obviously, Abernathy, because I talked with you guys, but if you sent me your topic as the question, you know, are curfews successful, or do curfews keep kids safe? You can't use a question. That cannot be your topic. You have to take a stand. So if you just gave me the question, I have no idea what side you're going to argue. So you have to tell me what you're going to be doing. It just makes sense, right? So make sure, and then some of you had not even thought about it. You're going to need reasons, okay? So I gave you credit. I think there was one person, I don't believe in this section, who asked about one of the banned topics, and I said, no, I think I've had 2 people actually do that, about banned topics, and they're on that list, and we covered that on Monday when I introed this, that I said, you're going to have to select another topic, and you're going to have to send it to me in a course message, because I still want to give them the opportunity to get the extra credit, because they did what they did, they got in on time, so I want to make sure that happens. So that's one of the things I saw, is that you're still operating from the question standpoint. You need to take a stand, no first person, none of that, but remember, if you're going to say that curfews are successful in keeping students safe because they blah, 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 you got to do it like that. Morning, Zach. Yes, we're having class today. I know they're freaked out. There are no cars in the parking lot, and on Monday and Wednesday, it is jam-packed. That's what's so crazy. And there's not any out there today. I'm assuming that the medical students, and that's who, the majority of those cars, they have brought a lot of the kids who are involved in the medical fields into this building. Right. Haven't we heard video playing next door when they have class? Yeah, they start at 8 a.m. with classes, so, or maybe they got done early. But anyway, so it's not surprising. Okay, so that's the thing. We need to make sure that our topic, that we are taking a stand, that I can tell what that is. And now we need to talk about summary and paraphrase. So you guys should have a copy of the assignment that talks about that and paraphrasing, okay? And I've combined it into a single document, so there'll be 2 sections to your document. I'm gonna go over it. You should have seen me scrambling to get this done last week. When I needed to be grading, I was creating this document so that I'd have it to give to you guys. And then I couldn't get it sent via email until Saturday because my computer, we're not gonna talk about it. It's just, this computer will not work at my house. This one that, and I thought about, I'll just bring the old one up here. Well, you have to have a special port on your computer to access the, docking station. So I was like, okay, I'll just pray that this one works, and it did. All right, so we're gonna talk about this assignment now. Students will write a summary of an article according to the steps in chapter 18 of the Langen textbook. Okay, that's pages 410 through 429. This will be double-spaced. Okay, that's something that I've seen. I still have gotten, comparing contrast papers, I got a couple of papers that were single-spaced. And I'm just like, there is no excuse for still formatting documents incorrectly this far into the semester. We're 2 months in. It should be double-spaced, 12 or 14-point font with an appropriate MLA heading. It should be no more than 1 to 1.5 pages long. Now, that's the summary portion. The paraphrase will probably add another half page at least, okay? That's Total and Lincoln. It's starting with the citation, using an article about their chosen argumentative topic. The articles to summarize should be a minimum of 900 words long. If you try to summarize something that's only got 500 words in it, you're not going to be able to get enough summary. Does that make sense? You got to have some meat in your thing. So that's why I was saying you need to really try to find an article of at least 900 words or more. You will turn in the summary paraphrase document and a copy of the article to Blackboard for grading. That's one of those extra credit assignments when you turn the summary in. So here we're going to talk about paraphrase. Students will then select a single sentence or a couple of sentences of at least 30 words out of that article. And you're going to paraphrase according to the information below from the same article, okay? So I'm having you do 2 skills, paraphrasing and summarizing. So paraphrasing is one way to use the text in your own writing without directly quoting source material. Anytime you're taking information from a source that is not your own, you need to specify where you got that information. So this is one of the things I'm dealing with that big sophomore class. They just did PowerPoints, but they were actually doing a character analysis. It's kind of crazy. I sneak it in, then they have to write one. That's their next assignment. That'll be fun. But if you use somebody else's ideas, that's paraphrasing. That's a way, when you give somebody else's ideas, you're paraphrasing what they've said, right? So you have to give credit to them. So a lot of times I'll just say, your quote / paraphrase needs to be credited. So that's what we're talking about. So in your big argumentative essay, if you use a source and you paraphrase it, you still have to give them credit, and it counts as one of your sources. I just didn't want to sneeze on everybody. I thought I was getting sick this weekend, but it went away, so I was excited about that. Okay. A paraphrase is your own rendition of essential information and ideas expressed by someone else, presented in a new form. So one legitimate way, when accompanied by accurate documentation, to borrow from a source is what it is. And it is a more detailed restatement than a summary, which focuses concisely on a single main idea. So there are 6 steps to effective paraphrasing. You reread the original passage until you understand its full meaning. And sometimes what we run into is that if we've got a very, I know somebody at Abernathy was talking about genetic engineering. Some of that can be very technical. So you have to be careful when you find an article, because if it's so technical that you can't really understand it, it might not be one you want to use. So a lot of times that's what will happen. Here's the surprising thing, that sometimes when you do a paraphrase, it may be longer than the original sentence, because you may be taking very complicated ideas that take few words, because the words are full of meaning. You might have to use more words to to actually reveal to the reader what it means. So set the original aside and write your paraphrase on another paper. Jot down a few words below your paraphrase to remind you later how you envision using this material, and check your rendition with the original to make sure that your version accurately expresses all the essential information in the new form. And then 5, use quotation marks to identify any unique term or phraseology you have borrowed exactly from the source. On a paraphrase, you can have quotation marks, but the paraphrase should not all be in quotation marks. That means it's just basically the sentence. The paraphrase allows you, it's a way in which you can take material and make it your own. It helps you understand it better. So record the source, including the page on your note card. We're not doing note cards, so don't worry about it. So that you can credit it easily if you decide to incorporate the material into your paper. Because if you look at it this way, whatever you paraphrase out of that article can also be used again it can be used in your final paper. So hopefully we're building up and making good stuff going on. So here's an original passage. Students frequently overuse direct quotation in taking notes, and as a result, they overuse quotations in the final research paper. Probably only about 10% of your final manuscript should appear as directly quoted matter. One of the projects I got, 43% of what they used, there was one slide, there was 11% of what they had 43% of the presentation showed that it was from sources. 11% came from Wikipedia. Wikipedia is not an acceptable source. Write that down somewhere so you don't think, oh, I'll just quote from Wikipedia. That's a database. No, it's not, okay? Don't use Wikipedia. And so basically I told that student, I would have said over 90% of that slide was taken from Wikipedia and not credited to Wikipedia, so it was plagiarized. So in my mind, that slide didn't even exist in the presentation because it wasn't the student's work. So, but you should only have about 10% of the final manuscript should appear as directly quoted matter. Therefore, you should strive to limit the amount of exact transcribing of source materials while taking notes. And so this is who said this quote, James Lester D., Writing Research Papers, 2nd edition, 1976. Here's a legitimate paraphrase. In research papers, students often quote excessively, failing to keep quoted material down to a desirable level. Since the problem usually originates during note-taking, it is essential to minimize the material recorded verbatim. Lester 46 to 47. So you've got a couple of main ideas come out of that. Here's an acceptable one. Students should take just a few notes in direct quotation from sources to help minimize the amount of quoted material in a research paper. That's okay. So I'm giving you 3 versions. Here's a plagiarized. Students often use too many direct quotations when they take notes, resulting in too many of them in the final research paper. In fact, probably only about 10% of the final copy should consist of directly quoted material. So it is important to limit the amount of source material copied while taking notes. And that's basically the whole little thing. Up here, there's very little that's been changed. So I had a student several summers ago who just basically took somebody else's thing and changed every other word. It's still going to show up plagiarized. So, and that's the thing. You're going to be turning this in through Turnitin. So if you quote in your summary, it will show up as plagiarized. And obviously the paraphrase, because you're going to have the original. You're going to have the original material on your paper, and then how you paraphrase it underneath it. So that will show up. But I'm smart enough I can figure that out. So that is just a quick paraphrasing information, by the way, came from Purdue OWL. That was not me making it up. So I want to give credit. I didn't want to plagiarize from them, okay? So you have a sample summary that you were given back at the beginning of, I guess it would have been a whole week ago. I act like that's been so very long. It feels like it's been really long ago. Okay, so you're going to see, if you take that sample summary out and use it, you can use it to format your document. It is in Word, okay? And see how it's got your name, Ms. Thompson. Obviously, 1301, 053, and 099, that is not your course sections, okay? That is sections from, probably 5 years ago or more. So remember, you would have to put in 200 for SPC, 441 for the high schools, and then, look, it says it's 4 years ago. 3 years ago, okay, summary assignment. So this just happens to be an article that has 2 authors, but the second author is only O. Isn't that interesting? That happens sometimes. So, this is the citation. I'm gonna shrink this down if it'll let me do that. No, it's not gonna let me, I've got it up too big. Okay. 'Cause I want you to see, you can see on your paper what it looks like, how the citation stands out from the summary. See how it's different? It's the left, the citation is the information that I would use if I were going to try to duplicate your article, go and find it. That's why it's important, because it tells when you got it. It also reinforces, what you're doing. So when you look at this, you're gonna see authors, and there's this mysterious author, North Korea is a human rights disaster, Trump shouldn't turn a blind eye. This was from Opposing Viewpoints in Context, okay? And this is taken from the article, all right? I didn't have to come up with this on my own. You've got, there's the database italicized, here is the link. This is the old MLA. When you go in and go now and go to Opposing Viewpoints, you're gonna get a slightly different version because they've upgraded a little bit. They're getting rid of the HTTP and all that stuff. You're just gonna get less information. You can see it was accessed on 12 September 2018, and it also tells you a lot of the stuff in Opposing Viewpoints, while a wonderful database, and if you do any kind of extemporaneous or CX or LD, it's a great source for you to have for additional information. Or if you are, do Congress. I think Congress is interesting, so I'll just say that much. But it's a great source for that kind of information, all right? Yes, and we're gonna talk about how to do that, okay? JC just asked me about formatting, and it's not hard to do, it's actually pretty easy, okay? But the thing is, if you use this document as your template for yours, and just go in and put your name, Ms. Thompson, get the right section, get the right date, and summary, it's gonna be summary/paraphrase assignment. When you find a citation and you put it in there, this should hold, okay? That formatting right there, because the formatting to get it's called a hanging indent, is locked into this document right now. I could take it out pretty easily, but you can, well, actually, I'll show you in a minute. But then you have, the summary starts down here, it doesn't indent because it's not an essay, it's just a summary. So it's gonna be flush left with that left-hand margin over here, same place, okay? And the article, North Korea, see how, that's one of those formulas to understand. You give the title of the article and you give the author's name. In the article, North Korea is a human rights disaster, I just didn't want to type it all out. That's why you're seeing ellipsis in there. You can't do ellipsis, okay? So you don't ellipsis out. If you've got this huge, long title, put it in there. And then by Nicole Sadaka, see, there's the author. The author asserts that Trump, blah, 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 blah. She also explores, blah, 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 blah. Sadaka points out, blah, 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 blah. And Nicole Sadaka concludes. So see, I actually have, 4 sentences, and everyone starts with the author tag, okay? So, let's talk about this right here. And so when you're in Opposing Viewpoints, you're gonna realize that a lot of times you're just getting segments of a larger article, and that's what this is telling you. This was originally published in Foreign Policy with that same title, but it's been reduced to go into Opposing Viewpoints. So if I want to, I'll show you very quickly. I'm gonna go in here and get rid of that hanging indent. I highlighted that, and I'm just gonna go none. And I don't know if you can see, but right down here in this little box, it's a preview, the hanging before, when it had hanging, see how that little line down there indented? And when I took it off, I put it on none, it went away. It's amazing. You wouldn't believe how much harder this was to do before computers. It was horrible. So see, I just did it. So this is one way to do it. I can go right back in. Up in paragraphs, if you have Word, if you're working off something else, sorry, can't help you, okay? You'd have to go into Pages to find out. You'd have to go into, are you working on a Mac?
No.
Okay, all right. So, you just, in paragraph in Word, right here at paragraph, there's a little arrow right there that says paragraph setting. You click on that, and you've got general indentation, and you'll see left to right, minor, mirror indent, and then there's this word special. So you come to special, and you just go down to hanging indent, It shows you down there, you get the preview for what should happen, and you click OK. And it put it right back in, didn't it? It's that easy to do. So, I'm gonna get a new document. I was gonna go in and find an article in the databases. Let's see. Okay, so here's y'all. Nope, this is in your class, that's okay. Employee sound. There are various ways to get to the library. I'm gonna do a different one. Academics, and library is the very last one when you're in this menu. But I don't know why they haven't updated that page. To me, that's crazy that it's not been updated. So here I am at the database, or the website. So I'm gonna go into databases. I'm gonna scroll down till I see opposing viewpoints. And let's see, I'm just gonna type in death penalty. Nobody, by the way, nobody sent me an extra credit thing saying they were gonna do death penalty, okay? And so I can see when I do death penalty, there's lots of things, academic journals, references, 189 viewpoints. So I'm just gonna open up a viewpoint, okay? And once you click on it, then you have to scroll down, government executions, 2021, okay, 1,138 words. Oh, I don't know, somebody was doing something about tobacco, so tobacco killed 500,000 Americans in 2020? So I'm gonna open up this article, but I'm gonna click up here in the title, okay? This is a viewpoint essay, government executions, debase U.S. law and culture. I'm going to download the article. Because I'm in opposing viewpoints, I already know it's gonna default and give me MLA. There it is. So when I open it up, here's the article, disclaimer, this is machine generated, so don't get too cranky or crazy about it. And as I go through, realize that article commentary, this is, when you go into opposing viewpoints, you have to get down past, a lot of times they'll have questions. Those questions might help you understand what the main point of the article is, okay? A changed man, okay, so here it is. All right, so there we've got it. So I can see, it says right here, let's make it bigger so you guys can see it clearly. It says full text, copyright 2021, source citation, MLA. That's not part of your citation. Your citation starts with the author's name. So I'm going to copy this, and I don't need Gale document number, okay? I just copied that. Let me go find my blank Word document. And I'm not doing anything fancy, I'm just gonna paste it in there. Okay, so when it went in, it lost the formatting, didn't it? And it's not double spaced. Okay, so I'm gonna highlight. First thing I'm gonna do is take the double spacing, which is those two arrows up here. Just go down to 2. All right, it's still highlighted, so I'm now going to click on that paragraph settings. I'm gonna come down here to indentation, special, and go to hanging, and click OK. Was that not easy? I had to hand type these out. I got a master's in English, and I had to hand type every single one. There was nothing that did it for you. That was hard. So that's how easy it is. Now, the issue with opposing viewpoints and some of the Gale ones is that they don't italicize databases. A database has to be italicized. So I'm just going to come over and italicize Gale opposing viewpoints collection online. I got to come back and do it over here again, the Gale opposing viewpoints. And then down here where it says originally published as Stop the Death Penalty, National Review is another periodical, that needs to be italicized. That's how easy that was to do. And you're like, yeah, because you've done it a bunch. Yeah, it helps. But I'm going to be honest. I had a student in a remedial English class I was teaching, and she told me about that little arrow here on paragraph. She taught me that, and I have used that more than almost anything when it comes to doing research. So just remember, there's a little, there's actually on all of these, there's little arrows. Font, it gives you some stuff on each of these. That gives you more information. See all the items, styles, okay? You just go to paragraph, and it says paragraph settings. Open it up and go to special and put it on hanging. And that's pretty cool. Now, The issue is, then you're gonna type your summary, so what you have to do, when you get to the next line, is you have to go take it off, because it shows hanging. So I've gotta come over here and go none, so that when I type my summary, I don't end up with a hanging indent for everything after that. I'm pretending I'm typing words, okay? Actually, let me take off that hanging indent, because if you leave it on, you've got a problem. Put it back on. So if I go along and I'm typing, so that's why you have to take it off after you put the citation in. So I can just come right back up here, click on paragraph, so I don't even have to highlight. I can just go up there and take it to none. See how it went back? And it's gone. So now it won't do it. Yeah, she said, asked me if I was in music. Every good boy does fine. That would be the lines on the treble clef. That's what the notes, the acronym for those. EGBDF? Yeah. Good cows eat grass always? Something like that? Okay. But that's how you do that. And so if you need me to remind you on how to, if you like, you know what I can do? I can make a video and show how to do that. All right? And I'll put it in course resources. Come over here. I don't want to modify grade, week 8. Down here you've got course resources. I will put the video on how to do a hanging indent in Word. I'm not going to show you how to do it because I don't know how to do it in the other ones, because I work in Word. Remember, it's English land and Word is easier. Okay, you got it? So, what I wanted to show you right now is I have a sample summary. Oh, that's not it. That's not it. Hold on. Nope, that's what I downloaded. Look at this. Scanned. There we go. Here we go. Here's a summary assignment, okay, that the students had to do last year. Oh, okay, this is cool. All right. This is from a student from last year, all right? This is what they did. It got a decent grade. So Professor Thompson, English 1301, 441, so that would have been the same time as this class, 11 October 2020. Wow. Today's the 17th, so we're actually a little bit later. So last year I gave them articles to choose from. This one happens to be from one about the Olympics being postponed last year, so we got to watch them this summer, remember? But we're going to see if you, I forgot, oh, dadgummit, maybe I need to open this. Gale opposing viewpoints online collection needs to be italicized. Gale in context opposing viewpoints needs to be italicized, as does the conversation. So the databases and the original publication. That's something to remember when you're dealing with opposing viewpoints. Now, you are not limited to opposing viewpoints, okay? I just want you to realize that. Now I got it, okay. So, in the article, Olympics postponement may be a cultural opportunity for Tokyo. Beatriz Garcia discusses the plans Tokyo had for 2020 as well as the Olympics. Garcia mentions that the Olympics was a chance for Japan to be known as a major international culture and creative center. The author discusses the Nippon Festival as one of Tokyo's cultural events. Garcia explains that this festival planned to showcase Japanese heritage, celebrate the culture and the economy. The author mentioned that Tokyo is going to wait and see how much of an impact postponing the Olympics will make. Garcia explains that it was a negative impact on their cultural repositioning plans. The author states, okay, you can see every sentence is beginning with a author tag. It just so happens that they have a lot of mentioned, states, explains. Remember on that list, that one I gave you that said good summary, and it gave you a list of verbs that you can use after author tags. Vary it a little bit, okay? Let's see, and then we've got I don't know where these lines came from. They are not on the document that I printed out, okay? Says, the author mentions that Japan is following all precautions made by the health department in order to keep everyone safe. Postponing the Olympics until 2021 gives organizers a chance to make innovative changes. Garcia discusses the pandemic and reassures everyone that hosting the Olympics still matters to Japan. So that is a sample document. So, the extra credit assignment this week, let's go look at week 8, says on Friday you submit, tomorrow you need to submit a copy of the article to Blackboard for extra credit. All of a sudden, I had a lot of people asking me for extra credit. It was very interesting. Okay, so discuss summary and paraphrase, submit copy of article to Blackboard for extra credit. We're gonna practice paraphrasing on Wednesday. I will send those, the items to practice paraphrasing with to the facilitators. Then you're gonna submit the draft of your summary by midnight on Friday. And then we're gonna talk about apostrophe. And I've also got a send out the apostrophe handout. Okay, so that's what's coming up. Have any of you attempted to do research yet on your topics? Yeah, okay, yeah. You're gonna do, what were you gonna do, Zach?
I have no.
Yeah, okay. When in doubt, just grab the death penalty, okay? I'm being honest, because there's a lot of stuff out there. There's a Halloween candy raffle. Yeah, well, it's not like they come out here and sell raffle tickets to us at Reese. The only people that get to participate in all this stuff are the other ones. Let me go back into the databases. If you're having trouble coming up with topics, all right? I'm gonna click on opposing viewpoints again, okay? As you scroll down, issues of interest, missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls. MMIWG. Of course, this has a lot to do with Gabby Petito. If you don't know about her, your head has been in the sand for the past 2 months. And what I think the big issue is that because she's white and made a lot more news, whereas there are tons of other individuals missing. Okay, it says explore this topic, then it's got browse issues, but they've got, I know several people have talked about compensation. One person's doing compensation for college athletics, local food movement, public transportation, hunting, oil pipelines. Hunting can't be done, so that's good. I do have a couple people writing about smoking, but I'm like, be careful. So they've got some big ones up here that you can look at. Somebody is writing about the Electoral College. I've never had anybody write about it, so it's going to be interesting to read. Cybercrime, society and culture. Yes, Iraq relations. Browse all 470 issues. That's what you do. Okay? I'm going to be honest. If you were in CX, this is a great place because it gives you it gives you a bunch of sources, okay? 9/11 attacks, abortion. We can't do abortion, so remember, activism. Affirmative action. Do you guys know what affirmative action is? Affirmative action is laws that are passed to guarantee that minorities have the same opportunities, like going to college. UT hates the fact that they have to consider racial background, to allow students in. They have to have, in other words, your top 20 people who are interested in applying at your college, 15 of them are white. You've only got 5 that are minorities, but they have to grant the minorities access before some of the whites who might be more qualified. So that's affirmative action. Pollution, let's see. I'm just trying to think. Oh, there was one we didn't talk about. Let me find it for you. I don't know if you guys would be interested in it. Let's see if it shows up here. It's called euthanasia. 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 It was a debate topic the year after I graduated from high school, and I thought, why are we talking about kids traveling to China? But that's not what it's about. I saw designer babies back there. Let's see. Okay, it is not in there, so I'm going to type it in here. Euthanasia and assisted suicide is basically the topics. We're going to go with euthanasia and physician-assisted suicide. So this is actually U.S. Medical and Surgical Society position statements on physician-assisted suicide and euthanasia. That's a topic where if somebody has a debilitating disease, they can choose to do physician-assisted suicide. It is legal in several states and lots of Europe, actually. But there was a guy called Dr. Kevorkian, they called him Dr. Death, because he would go assist people, but, basically what happens, somebody has a disease that's just incredibly devastating, extremely expensive. The economic parts of it are very difficult to look at, that extensive hospitalization and medication and all kinds of stuff. And so, they choose to commit suicide so that their family's not sitting there watching them wither away and dry up and be in extreme pain. So that's an interesting topic, if you have a family member who's got that. Or, euthanasia is like when you put a dog to sleep, but we're doing that to a person. Somebody who's comatose, they're non-responsive, nothing's happening, they're just in a bed. They've been so devastatingly harmed by something, okay? And so you're gonna see that there's a lot of stuff. Trends in Swedish physicians' attitudes towards physician-assisted suicide. Public and physician support for euthanasia in people suffering from psychiatric disorders. It's kind of wild, isn't it? Voluntary euthanasia should not be legalized. The media's positive portrayal of euthanasia is harmful, so there's an opposing viewpoint. Legalizing physician-assisted suicide would harm society. Assisted suicide, see, there's all kinds of stuff. Let's just click on, this one's not very long, let's click on the assisted suicide. It's 1,000 words. And so it's called PAS, that's the acronym for it, physician-assisted suicide. It's when a terminally ill patient requests and receives lethal doses of medication. It's an established process. It is guided by strict legal requirements. It is different than euthanasia, which refers to the act of ending someone else's life and is a crime. You know, you've heard those stories about the old man goes in and shoots his wife because she's got Alzheimer's so bad, or dementia so poor, that kind of stuff. There are debates about terminology, so here's some stuff. Fast facts, so there's some interesting things going on there. So, now I'm gonna be honest, there's 90 of you guys taking this class. If you can't find something on your topic and you ask me for help, I'm gonna only be able to do limited work, because I've got you and then I've got another 90 sitting in another one class by itself. So this is something that you've got to be able to figure out how to do. There's quite a bit in this article, okay? So that's a topic. Let's do, I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go back one more time, because I've been a little bit surprised by the number of students who've been interested in curfews and do sports keep kids out of trouble, okay? Let's go back. I just typed in curfews. So we've got 17 viewpoints, 5,429 articles about curfews in opposing viewpoints, okay? Which is different from looking at a viewpoint. A viewpoint will be a segment out of another article. These will be complete articles. And there's 189 that can be read to you, or they might be videos. Oh, there's videos there. So there's plenty going on.
I'm doing the curfew on that.
Huh?
I'm doing the curfew on the suggestion of the.
Yeah.
Is that fine?
Huh?
Article, summary?
Yeah, this is where you go find the articles for your summary. So, JC's gonna do it. So I'm just gonna go look at viewpoints in here for curfews. Let's see, curfews may reduce crime and protect urban youth. Well, that one's only 1,674 words, 2,400, 1,900, 23, 25. Yeah, that's the shortest one. So I'm gonna pull that one up. And here's the commentary. That highlighted blue area is summary. That's an abstract. You don't get to use that. But here it begins. In response to a wave of increasing juvenile crime in the 80s and 90s, many communities across the nation either implemented or began enforcing curfew statutes. Scope of the problem. So this gives you a lot of background. But this comes from, and they give you a lot of sources, okay? It comes from periodically. Yeah, they've done some research here. So there's your citation. Now, if I were to take this one, I'm going to go over to that one I was doing, okay? I'm going to go over to the one I had just created. So I'm going to load in, I'm going to copy in that one, okay? So see how it didn't copy in the hanging indent, but all I have to do is All I've got to, I don't even have to highlight, I just have to do that. Come back over here. And it took the entire thing and did it. And this already has the stuff italicized. That was easy, easy peasy, okay? So I actually, you know, it's done. It's not hard to do. But I can go back to the article now and see that it's got a lot of, I don't know if there's evaluation results. This looks like a good article. And because one of the things when you're summarizing, what you need to look at, let me download this very quick. There's a reason to download it, so that we can see it better. Okay. So you've got scope, okay, so the summary ends after the questions. Scope of the problem. Theoretical context. You see there's headings in the article. If there's headings in the article, that's a good thing to help you out. It's like reading the textbook, isn't it? Prevention and intervention. So I might, if I were going to do this, I might begin with the author, Martha, I would go, Yeed begins her article with the scope of the problem, by discussing the scope of the problem with curfew laws. And then you could say something else about that. Then she continues with theoretical context, blah, 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 blah. See how I can use those headings to help me write my summary, okay? And then she also examines prevention and intervention, and she concludes her essay with the results, evaluation and results of the study that say blah, 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 blah. So see how it's really, it's not that hard to do. It's a little bit easier than trying to come up with your own original material like you did on the compare and contrast and on the narrative and even on the personal paragraph, okay? So that's one way. Okay, now I've done curfews. Actually, I was going to go back in and I'm going to look at advantages. It would help if I got rid of that. I don't know if anything's going to show up. Wow. Advantages of sports. I think that's all. Okay. So I'd have to look through this. Oh, I'm not even on it. Sorry. I know we're getting close to time, but you've got to be careful. So when in doubt, go to your databases, go to Academic Search Complete, and talk about sports and students. Okay, and I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to select a field, and I'm going to go all text, benefits, not beer, benefits, okay? So I click that, and we'll see if anything comes up. There are almost 4,100 articles. Okay, so it's a little bit, I don't necessarily want that. I can see some things. Let's go limit to full text. I'm going to come up to, it started with 1932. I don't want stuff from 1932. I'm just going to stop with 2001. So it's going to update. And it went down to 3,000. Wow, that wasn't that many. Okay, I want to go to, academic. Let's go with, I'm going to avoid the academic, newspapers. Let's see what newspapers say. And I've got it down to 224. Where sports means survival. Bullying keeps LGBTQ youth from sports. The 10 billion. The gyms benefits fade as students get older. Okay. So there, you'd have to do some looking, but to let you know that you are not stuck with opposing viewpoints, go into Academic Search Complete. Make sure, I'll just open up this one really quickly. To remind you, you can see this is actually a copy from the New York Amsterdam News. If I want the citation, add the folder. Right, I want to email it to me. I would go to detailed citation and add standard field. I've got to go down here and make sure that I click on MLA 8. And let me just email to, I'm just going to send it to my personal email. Article. And I click send. She sent me an article on Wednesday or Thursday, whichever day.
Your conference is scheduled to end in 2
Email
minutes.
confirmation, so it's been sent. So that's how quickly you can do that. All right? So don't, if you get stuck, maybe you're not using the right search terms. So what you might want to do is Google just, what are other words that I can use in place of this word? And that might help you out, okay? So we're going to have paraphrase work to do on Monday. And if you were one of those who saw a 0 in your extra credit, all that means is that it was an unacceptable topic. Even if you got a 5, you might want to go look at, because sometimes I read everybody's and I put in some comments, okay? So I'll see y'all Wednesday to work on paraphrasing, all right? Bye. That's time. We're at 9:48. Everybody's going. We're cool? We got ideas? Okay. I saw a thumbs up from someone. You can go. Or you have a question?
Okay, so does our essay have to be the same as our summary? Like,
No.
because I was saying that I'm writing my essay about the curfews, not the article.
Well,
The article can be different?
no, the article has to be about your topic.
So, okay. So
It just has to be, the article has to be about your topic, because I'm forcing you to get some research done.
Okay.
Oh, so it's
Yeah, I
not
thought
two
they were
different
different.
It's not 2 different topics. No, you're gonna go in, so we know you're doing research, so that's what's due tomorrow night, is all you have to do is download the article. I'm downloading the ones about children's response, content safe, summary sample. This is, article 1, okay? And then you go into,
Your conference is now over.
okay, come down here
Goodbye.
to where it says, submit copy of article for extra credit, click on that. I'm gonna go, okay. I'm going to browse local files. I don't even know where I put it, that's hilarious, okay. Article 1, there it was under summary. I click it, I submit, okay. It says preview, upload, submit copy. Submission from previous assignment is not saved. That's because I'm the teacher, y'all, that's the problem, okay? It's not gonna allow me to do it. But it is through Turnitin, I believe, no? It just,